Nigerians are being killed in South Africa, their properties are being destroyed, and for years, the Nigerian government has done nothing but issue statements and shed tears. But one senator has had enough, and what is now asking the federal government to do has divided the entire country. This is the story. Since 1999, over 180 Nigerians have been killed in South Africa due to xenophobic attacks, not once, not twice, over and over again. In April 2026, another wave of violence hit Johannesburg and Pretoria. At least 2 Nigerians were killed. One died in police custody, another died from injuries allegedly caused by South African soldiers. And as usual, South Africa's government said very little. So Senator Adams Oshiomhole, former governor of Edo State, now representing Edo North in the Nigerian Senate, stood up to the floor of the Senate on May 5th, 2026 and said something that got the whole country talking. He said, and I quote, "I'm not going to shed tears. If you eat me, I eat you. That is appropriate in diplomacy. It is an economic struggle." And then he went further. He called on the federal government to revoke the operating license of MTN and DSTV, two of the biggest South African companies making money in Nigeria, and handed them over to Nigerians. His exact words: "When we eat back, the president of South Africa will not only talk, but we go on his news." Here's what he had to say. Take a listen.
Let me get you one of the issues of concern, and those who perhaps would disagree with you agree to the point that Nigerians and any other African country, you saw what Ghana did yesterday and today, making an announcement of evacuation of their citizens out of that country, and your stance on the floor of the Senate as to the decision of the federal government or what the federal government should be doing in going after the South African private interest in Nigeria as a way to serve as deterrence to the South Africans. And those who would disagree with you, those who will be asking, do you think that is a reasonable pathway into getting the attention of South Africa when you now hold South African company liable to what South African average citizen is doing to Nigerians in that country?
Thank you very much. I think the issue for me is very straightforward. You have corporate citizens, you have individual citizens. Nigeria citizens are being harassed and killed in South Africa, not for the first time, not for the second time, not for the third time. It's like any time people wake up, they have no job, they're hungry, they visit their transferred aggression to black people. And Nigeria has its own fair share of the black population. And so if it's an economic issue, my point is, a Nigerian, typically in South Africa, takes capital from Nigeria money, convert it to dollar, go to South Africa and establish a trading company. Maybe from small-scale business, it grows and begins to prosper because they have the skills so to do. And then someone wake up one day, you destroy that business. There are cases in which Nigeria stores have been burnt. There are cases in which Nigeria-owned stores have been looted. And of course, the owners wasted. My problem is the South African government is not on record as having prosecuted or sentenced anyone to prison for obvious looting, arson, or even murder. That implied state endorsement of a wrong policy. I also happen to know, because don't forget, when I was president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, we had bilateral relationship with the what we call COSATU, Congress of South African Trade Unions. So we had a dream of a world in which workers all over the world, in particular African workers, would be there for each other. And I am shocked that the South Africans think that the economic crisis is because of those Nigerians and some other countries, people from other countries who are doing many jobs in their country, and they ask them to go. And my logic is simple. If it's an economic war, then Nigeria, who is allowing its citizens to go to South Africa, where we don't need a visa anyway, or put more clearly, who is inside South Africa to do small businesses? If they are being chased away for doing small businesses, why should we allow South Africa to do big businesses, such as MTN, I think they have Starbit Bank, you have Shoprite, name them. They are all high net worth companies that are not only giving jobs to top senior South Africans as managers and directors, they are also cutting away billions of dollars in profit. So I said to myself, we can't force South Africa to accept our citizens, but we also cannot force us to accept their corporate citizens. And in diplomacy, I believe there is what we call reciprocity. And you can choose your tools. If you are choosing the economic battle at the lower end, where our people are suffering in South Africa, and you are envious of the job they do, Then we go after your own businesses that are more lucrative, and you are repatriating Nigeria capital. MTN, for example, what is repatriating from Nigeria to South Africa? All the incomes of Nigerians living in South Africa and doing small businesses put together is not up to the fraction of that. As we speak, somebody said, Nigerians also are part owners of MTN. Yes, maybe the last time I read about the shareholding structure of MTN, they are hoping that they will go to the market again and Nigeria might acquire up to 35%. So they will own on to 65%. So I'm like, okay, it's economic war. Nigeria we shouldn't just say we are big brother. A brother without muscle is nothing. And I sure you will appreciate that. We did quite a bit.
Now, before you agree or disagree with him, let me give you the full picture because this is where it gets complicated. MTN Nigeria is not fully owned by South Africans. Nigerian pension funds own shares in MTN. Ordinary Nigerians, your parents, your relatives who invested their savings on shares in MTN. And MTN employs thousands of Nigerians directly. And in 2025 alone, MTN paid over 878 billion naira in taxes and levies to the Nigerian government. Same thing with DSTV and MultiChoice. So the question everyone is now asking is this: if Nigeria goes after these companies, who actually suffers? Is it South Africa or is it the Nigerian workers, shareholders and consumers who depend on these businesses every single day? In fact, economists have already warned that doing this would be, and I'm quoting directly, economic self-sabotage. But Oshiomhole has a response to that. Take a listen.
You look at it again, maybe there is an indictment on those who have led this country. Maybe they have been soft on South Africa in the past, and that's why this thing have gone on change. But there are those who have punctured your argument, Senator Oshiomhole, to say, look, if you are talking about the federal government of Nigeria going after South African business interests in Nigeria, that may be fault. For example, the MTN is listed on the stock exchange.
Yes.
The chairman and members of the board are of Nigerian descent. They are Nigerians. There are Nigerian shares on MTN. If you talk about MultiChoice, for example, MultiChoice is largely owned by Canon France, which is directly a French company. And there are those who will say, maybe that's not the right way to look at it. You cannot punish corporate-private interests because of the failure of a government or a public interest.
No, you got it wrong. First, let's be very, very clear. I talk about categories of citizens. All over the world, you talk about citizens of countries. You also have corporate citizens. The ownership of the open ownership of DSTV may have been reworked in a way as to give it a French face. Or you might go deeper to find out whether in truth there is no longer South Africa content.
There are South African interest in it.
Okay.
But the point I'm making,
wait,
so that we don't mix things up.
That interest is one.
Some of these companies you make, so that we don't confuse our audience. Some of the companies you mentioned, they are not owned by South African state.
Wait.
They are owned by private corporate interest.
Yes.
And that's the point.
I didn't say corporate. Now, these Nigerians who are being killed in South Africa, whose shops have been looted, is anybody arguing that they are Nigerian-owned businesses? They are not Nigerian government-owned businesses. They are owned by Nigerian citizens. Exactly the same way as South African citizens have interest in those companies in varying degrees. That is the point. If you impose economic sanction, but what I do not advocate, we should behave as a more civilized people. We shouldn't kill, we shouldn't maim, we shouldn't burn, or we follow the law. The law allows us to take over. There's a hostile takeover, there's a friendly takeover. So if MTN is quoted, very good. That portion that is still held by South African citizens, that portion should be taken and managed by Nigerians. And I saw Rufai today laboring in a very poor manner that Nigerians can't manage, which is indicting himself, not our nation, as far as I'm concerned. He was talking about Etisala, that had not succeeded. I said, how can you be such a poor liar, Rufai, that you don't remember that Glo is owned by a Nigerian, Mr. Adenuga? He's alive and well. How can you not know that Airtel has sufficient Nigeria content and is doing well? Why are you suggesting that Nigerians cannot hold a GSM company? Because he's so self-opinionated, so paranoid that he lied lavishly and he lied confidently.
But this is not a reporting. This is not a reporting platform.
We're here to. Let me speak to the point. The other point you made.
Yeah, and I'm saying that is the past government not being complicit.
You said it all. Nigeria have been the poaching bank. The poachers in Ghana, we turn the other cheek. But for Ghana, sometimes I have mixed feelings. Because once upon a time, we had a Shagari government that asked Ghanaians to go home. That is what gave right to this popular Ghana must go. And because for me, that is the problem. When governments are in trouble, they sought to divert attention. Exactly the same way as President Ramaphosa is in trouble at the moment with his own people. And it was very convenient for him to behave as if the problem is not caused by him, it's caused by other Africans. So I believe that we can't be the proverbial punch bag that Ghana can punch us, South Africa can punch us, any country can punch. Even there was a time, I think this small country, Guinea, Equatorial Guinea, whatever, they were dealing with some Nigerians who are farmers or cocoa farmers in those countries. This country must stand for its citizens. That is my position.
Well, truth is, he has a point, and that is hard to ignore. Because here's the bitter truth. South Africa has been killing Nigerians for over 20 years, and Nigeria has never gone beyond issuing statements and recalling ambassadors. Every time it happens, we condemn, we sympathize, we move on, and South Africa continues. So Shehu asked him the question that every Nigerian watching wanted answered. What has the Nigerian government actually done to protect its citizens in South Africa, and what are they going to do right now? Take a listen.
What has your government, you are a part and parcel, a senior member of this government. What has this government
How do
done?
government policies formulate? Now, I have chosen to be part of the legislative arm of this government. And in that capacity, I have advocated what I want. But the Constitution allows me to debate, to sponsor a motion, and to debate a particular policy. If I have my way, it prevails. If I don't have my way, it suffers.
So
but you probably know where I stand.
So that's the reason why. That's the reason why I
wait.
raised the issue of indictment on the manner in which. Just for a moment, sir. Let me land on my question. I raised the issue of indictment of past government on how they have responded and handled the issue of xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in the past, and we're seeing that also playing out in the past. How many days when Nigerians have been attacked in South Africa? What has been the official position of the federal government of Nigeria? Ghanaian government has gone ahead to evacuate their citizens there. Has Nigerian government done anything other than that?
Now, you just agree with me that we can't keep using the same old-fashioned diplomacy that make our ambassadors and our foreign ministers to exchange cup of tea, sign communique, and business as usual. That is why I am advocating specific sanctions. Because an economic argument, they are saying Nigerians are taking our jobs, they are taking our businesses, that's why they are looting. And the capital that the Nigerians are trading with, we are not loans from South Africa banks. And even if they are meant to be paid back. But no bank will give you money to start a business. These guys took Nigeria capital to South Africa to set up businesses. And they are flourishing. And then somebody is full of envy. And then the state is not protecting them. So I'm saying, if previous government over the years have gotten used to these cocktail dinners and parties, nice talks, don't hurt me, I don't hurt you, but this is not too nice, don't do it again, my people are not too happy, so I will move on. This time, we should not only back, we should bite. We should deploy different tools to deal with a recurring problem that diplomacy in the traditional sense of the word has not used. In any case, they're what to call economic diplomacy. I think it was Ikewachuku as foreign minister who was talking about Nigeria policy being based or informed by what he labeled, I believe correctly, economic diplomacy. Yeah. So because it's not always that you have to be the guy, the nice
bigger
guy,
nations
talk nicely.
of this world.
I'm saying
America is using economic sanctions against other countries.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government as a reformist government. And I was very excited recently when he made a radical statement. For many people, they don't read or if they do, they don't even digest it. Government after government in Nigeria has always said, Africa is the centerpiece of Nigeria foreign policy. What about, until last month, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to his credit and to my admiration, said, Nigeria and Nigeria citizens are now the centerpiece of Nigeria foreign policy.
So there you have it. Senator Adams Oshiomhole wants MTN DSTV license revoked. He wants South African business interests nationalized and handed to Nigerians. He says life is more important than investments. And the economists say it will hurt Nigeria more than South Africa. And the federal government, as of today, has only moved to set up an emergency desk at the Nigerian High Commission in Pretoria and discussed evacuation plans. Now, before you go, I want to hear from you. Should Nigeria go after South African businesses, yes or no? And if not, what exactly should Nigeria do differently this time? Drop your honest answer in the comments. Subscribe if you want more honest breakdowns like this, and trust me, you won't be disappointed. So turn on your notifications so you never miss my next updates. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.